That's when you go back and tell them, man, I did this for you. I did. Why it always got to be about money?
Right.
Say what? Why
Right.
you always? Why is this conversation when you come to me? It's always about money. You know, that's another thing you get tired of. But you know, I had to go through so much, and then him, and then him and one of my kids' mother. You know what I'm saying? That my ex stole over $400,000 from me.
400?
What?
Oh,
Over $400,000 from me. She killed one of my childs because she couldn't get child support in the state that she was in. They had a cap on it, so she wanted to move to California.
Oh,
see, that's
man.
where all the girls go
That's
to.
what, yeah,
You
California
feel, because
got
them
the
lawyers
laws
out there
that-
waiting on them, and the laws is a woman is innocent until proven guilty, and a man is guilty until proven innocent. Good luck. And don't have no money because they're gonna extort you.
Yeah.
You understand me? Judges and lawyers knowing each other and all that, and I'm telling you, know. And these times, motherfuckers freaking out here. They probably having sex with each other and shit, and coming on and hitting your case down. You know what I mean? I done been through so much, bro. And to go through that and to have somebody that you done taken care of for years, a person. She was a person that lost her job she'd tell everybody she a CPA, but you was a CNA. A certified nurse assistant. That's the lowest of the low in the hospital, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But you want to tell people you certain things because you want to look a certain part that you really not. You know what I'm saying? And now you lose your job as that. You can't even wipe ass right. You done lost your job wiping somebody's ass because you ain't wipe it right. He still stink. You know what I'm saying? And now you lose your job. You finna become homeless and you got two people you taking care of. So I end up getting her and moving her with me.
Yeah.
And not, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And helped her out and all that stuff. And this is how you repay me.
Damn.
I took the role of being your son father, not just a daddy, but a father.
Right.
I went in so hard, bro. I went in so hard to the point where I put them on my will.
Oh, no. Brothers. Don't listen to these simps online who are telling you to step up, to be a stepdaddy. I'm not going to say the temptation isn't there, fellas, especially with these pretty single mothers out here. And sometimes I know it'd be fire. She got that fire. You have to partake, but don't get too serious, right? Now, you know she's got her responsibilities off to the side, but that is not your responsibility. That is not your responsibility. You're a millionaire boxer to put her child and your girlfriend, not your wife, in your will. That was crazy. He needed better counsel for that. So you got to resist to jump in there and try to be the super stepdaddy because the whole time you're playing from a disadvantage, man. And I don't understand why women don't get this. I think a lot of young women don't really take this seriously because it's become so common to encounter a woman that has children. You know, they don't realize the impact it'll have on their future. You know, having so many, choosing to be a single mother in some cases. They'll try to say that it's unfair where everyone else is doing it, but everybody else isn't going to help you raise your child. And your reputation is going to take a hit. Even if today's feminist society tells you otherwise.
I had a meeting with my kids. I said, how y'all feel if I scoot y'all over? I scoot over a little slide and let somebody else get a little bit up.
Yo.
And you know, my kids are amazing. They're my best friends.
Of course.
And they was down with it. So I moved a little space over and added her son in on my motherfucking wing. You ain't even my son for real.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Wow. Damn. That has to take a toll.
I put her in my will as well too.
Yeah.
You was just my girlfriend. You ain't even my wife.
I hope that still ain't dead now.
Yeah, man.
I hope that still ain't.
One time the son said, "You ain't my daddy."
Oh.
Now, that's one thing you don't say to a man
Right.
that ain't your daddy. Don't
Right.
remind him that you ain't his daddy. You know what I'm saying? Don't remind me that.
I know that, but you ain't got
Right.
to.
I done fed you, took you on all these trips, giving you a beautiful life.
Yeah.
I ain't your daddy. I'm put you on my wheel. Bro, when he did that, bro, I ran to my lawyer to try to get that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I felt like I was finna have a heart attack. Seriously.
I bet he did, man. I bet he ran like the wind to get that thing amended. That's crazy. She didn't even realize. Like, he didn't even say the relationship was necessarily over after the son said that, but you got to imagine, like, he took the steps to make sure, he realized the mistake he made, and thank God he did. And he also mentioned that she, I guess, had a deletion of one of their children when she realized she was in the wrong state. That should have told you everything you need to know about her mind state. She was looking to strategically have that child in the right place. That's her thinking 10 steps ahead. That's her lining you up in a way, so that eventually, if God forbid we get divorced or we part ways, she'll always have that child, and she'll always have the same situation that Gilbert Arenas was talking about yesterday. Yeah, I did a video on that yesterday, man, about how many men are going through this that are pro athletes, since people like Dr. Cheyenne Bryant like to talk about pro athletes and men that are successful all the time. Since we want to focus on them, let's focus on how they're targeted and sometimes just victims of the women in their lives. They try to say that the men online who warn men about women like this are doing something nefarious. Like it's sacrilegious to talk about a woman online, apparently. It's not that. It's just that a lot of these women are already complicit. They don't realize that by having that child and being a single woman on the market, you would be better off going back with one of your children's fathers. Like, I don't think people realize the place on the market that puts you. I mean, it's obvious because they still value themselves highly in some ways. They value themselves based on the normal superficial values that a lot of people put on them, for their beauty or their attractiveness or how good they are in bed. But they don't realize yet not having a good relationship or selecting wrong actually causes a liability. And I'm not saying the children are liabilities. Like I said before, children are beautiful. It's a great thing to further your legacy and your lineage. But don't expect another man to have to foot the bill for your ready-made family. You know what I'm saying? Now, it might be a different thing if the man already has children, but I've heard single women out here saying they don't want those men. They don't want the men that have already had children that might actually put together some type of Brady Bunch with them, Like they look down on those men and they don't understand why a single man that is actually successful, that is doing well in his life, wouldn't bend over backwards to be a stepdaddy like generations before. Well, I'm going to say generations before, everybody knew less people. And let's just be honest, knowing less people makes the supply less. That means that you have access to less, and that means you're going to probably accept something less. It works in the reverse all the time. Y'all don't have a problem understanding how the internet gives you access to so many other men that you can be selective. But why wouldn't you think a man in a good position isn't also able to be selective?
I mean, I've been through a lot, bro.
It sounds like a lot to just be the guy.
It
right?
is.
Like if you the heavyweight champion, you're the guy and all of this. It's crazy because I wrote this the other day on my Twitter. I said, we as boxing fans owe Deontay Wilder more respect. And I say that because you was the last great American heavyweight.
Facts.
Like the guy that we could say as you.
But either way, I think they think we're being mean when we talk about realizing where single mothers are in the dating market. You're automatically going to be taking some points off. You know what I mean? Because men aren't supposed to go out and accept ready-made families. I think Kevin Samuels used to talk about the lion analogy where, a lion that comes into a lioness with cubs already, he would literally unalive, for lack of a better word, I hate that word, but he would unalive the cubs that already existed so he could start his line over. We're not animals, so obviously that doesn't happen in our life. Although I think Deontay, he snapped at the wrong dude. Right? He talk about, Deontay, you're not my daddy. And this dude is knocking people out for a living. But the man that accepts you, the man that has a relationship with you, ladies, is giving up quite a bit. He's investing in you a lot, a whole lot. And it's no secret, you should be grateful. You should actually be grateful because the same woman without children is a lot less complicated of an arrangement and will eventually cost a lot less. Or at least you'll be able to start your own family with her. The reason I know a lot of this is going over a lot of women's heads is because they lash out at men who don't even have children for the situations that have been put upon them from a lot of men that are acting irresponsibly, that have children and abandon them, as it were. They'll put the pressure on these stepdaddies, and somehow you're not measuring up if you've been strategic about how you want to build your family. It's almost like a handicap. When you come in with multiple kids, and it's been this way for generations, just look back to the Brady Bunch. She found a man who was also a single father, and they built a tribe of 6 children, you know what I'm saying? And a feisty housekeeper. But in that era, you know, that man was an architect. He was making money. You have to be able to pay for that lifestyle. It's not a small task. But a woman single with 3 kids back then might not have ever remarried. And that's why the show was an outlier. That's why it was an event. And not to mention all the weird stuff that can happen having children that are not related to each other under the same roof. I'm not going to even go into that. The complications that arise from this. What makes you think you can do better than your baby's father? That's a serious take. And I think in this Instagram age, we've seen people like Drea, Michelle, who have been able to navigate this and get a rich NBA player. But you also have to look at the calculation of how she moved in an almost predatory manner. Her and Brittany Renner, in some ways trapping younger men who I'm almost guaranteeing didn't know any better. And if they had to do it again, they probably wouldn't. And then you also talk about the prototype relationship of Ciara and Russell Wilson. Now, I know that a lot of women are looking to them, but Ciara is the exception, not the rule. Ciara is very attractive. Ciara is not average. Everything that's been written about this relationship and having Little Future take on Russell Wilson's name, you know, Future's son. We don't know what Little Future is going to turn into in the future, or if, I'm saying future too much. It seems like they're trying to change the relationship with his father, which I think is a bad thing. I think that's not right. Because you have to respect the relationship that he could potentially have with his father down the line. He needs to know where his people come from, not just because you're mad at his father or you want to prove something to the new guy so that he'll do what Deontay Wilder did and put your child in his will. Rough thing to even think about. Your biological children have to move aside so that dad's girlfriend's child that she had before can get a piece of this wealth. You hear how crazy that sounds? Do you hear how crazy that sounds? Anyway, crazy. Let me know what you think about it in the comments. If you like this video, like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you sign up for the Patreon. That's patreon.com/Faucette Media. We got some new content over there that isn't available on this channel. That was too hot for this channel, man. Boy. I might actually talk about what happened to that video and how it ended up on Patreon. But either way, go ahead and sign up for Patreon. You know, even if you sign up at the free tier, just go ahead and do that for me if you rock with Faucette Media. This is Faucette Media.